rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, we are back. Rebel Force Radio returning just in time for the holidays, of course. And we're going to get all into it. What happened? Why this is the first RFR in about a month. So we'll put all the rumors and whatnot at rest. Now, if you've been paying attention, you know, you should know. But if you don't, we'll catch you all up. Plus, we're going to catch you up on things like Mandalorian and Grogu. That's right. It's a production update courtesy of Jon Favreau and Empire Magazine. Maybe you saw it. Maybe you got the floppy newsstand edition. Plus, speaking of new Star Wars, we've got the Starfighter film, which is now filming. We're going to be checking in with Shawn Levy and Matt Smith about that, some interview highlights. And if there's time, of course, we'll get to Star Wars in pop culture. And who knows, a few other surprises. But in the meantime, the question on everyone's mind is, where has Rebel Force Radio been? And there's only one person that can answer this as thoroughly as it needs to be answered. That is, of course, my good friend and yours from Chicago. He's back, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Believe me, there's no place in the world I would rather be than behind this microphone right here, right now, talking the wars with the greatest damn Star Wars podcaster out there, Jason Swank. And finally, I'm back. Let me just try to calm down. I mean, I'm feeling an adrenaline rush here. I'm feeling a lot of excitement because, yeah, Jason, you're right, man. There hasn't been any RFR show release. The weekly RFR Q&A, RFR RPG, the Babu Freaks. Nothing has been released since November 21st. That's almost a month ago, man. That was before Thanksgiving. It was the week before Thanksgiving, and we featured lots of listener feedback.
All kinds of voicemails. It was a great show. It was so much fun. And when we ended that show, we chatted, and you were like, "Hey, next week's Thanksgiving, but I'd like to release something. So I've got a little best of, and why don't we record next week, and we'll just do some intros and be done, and we'll have a nice holiday week." And I'm like, "Great, that sounds great." So it is unusual, I would say, for me to not hear from you over a span of 3 or 4 days. Usually there's a text going back and forth, or you're talking to the Jedi Council. And as I look back on it, you were a little quiet. And all of a sudden, it's Tuesday. It's our recording day. And I shoot you a text in the afternoon because by 3, if I haven't heard from Jimmy Mack by 3 o'clock on a recording day, just the check-in, hey, we all good for tonight? That's normally what I get. I usually get it after lunch sometimes. It's almost 3:30, and I have not heard anything from Mac. But I'm not really thinking anything of it. It's the holidays. People are busy. So I shoot him a text. I say, "Hey, are we recording the ins and outs tonight? Tomorrow?" The text I got back from you, I'll never forget it. "Sorry, man, I can't. I've been through a lot since the last time you talked to me. I got smacked hard with the flu, which evolved into double lung pneumonia. I'm in the hospital right now." That's what I'm reading this. I'm in the hospital right now, and I'll probably be in here through Thanksgiving. So, I mean, that hit me like a ton of bricks. In the hospital, I mean, it's one thing to say, "Hey, I'm not feeling good." I could probably count on one hand in the decades that you and I have been working together where you have just said, "I'm sick, I can't do the show." I mean, maybe once. Because I remember some people may not know, we got through an entire show, and at the end, Max says, "Yeah, I've been puking like in between." in between segments. I mean, like that's the level of professionalism and just total dedication. So when I got this, yeah, it really rocked me. So Jim, from your perspective, you're firing off that text saying, you know, I'm in the hospital. So peel back the curtain a little bit to the extent you're comfortable and tell us, you know, last time we heard from you, we were taking voicemails and answering voicemails and just doing our typical RFR stuff.
Well, you know, it was just one of those things where Wendy picked up the flu bug, and it's a real rough and aggressive one this year. And she brought it home and passed it along to me. I already have low immunity due to a few pre-existing conditions and the medications I take to fight those pre-existing conditions. They both kind of lower my immunity. And so I did catch the flu from her. And for the first few days, it was really manageable. But I called my general doctor on Friday, and he goes, yeah, you know, he called in a prescription for me for some kind of thing, something, I forget, Teraflu. I forget what it was called.
Yeah, Teraflu, right. Mm-hmm.
Wacky medication, and I took it, and I said, oh, great, man, I'll take it over the weekend, and I bet on Monday I'll be feeling much better. He goes, well, if you feel worse, give me a call. So 8:30 Monday morning, after kind of skating through the weekend okay, it became clear to me on Sunday night that this was no typical flu bug. And so I called him Monday morning, and he goes, do you feel worse? I'm like, 1,000 times worse. And he goes, all right, well, just, you know, let the Theraflu do its thing. But if it gets any worse, you know, go to urgent care or something. So I did that. Then the Tuesday morning, Wendy took me to urgent care, and I almost collapsed in the parking lot walking into the urgent care. And then they checked my blood oxygen level, and it was dangerously low. So the next thing I knew, I was being thrown into an ambulance for the 1-minute drive to the hospital, which was it's like right across the street. Yeah. And so, you know, they threw me in an EKG machine. They were x-raying my lungs. They were pretty panicky, you know. They were worried about a blood clot traveling to my brain or my heart and giving me a stroke or a heart attack. Okay, but after they checked me out, it wasn't really a possibility that could happen. But when you get alarmed to something like that, and you're in a situation where you can't breathe, you know, it's a tough place to be.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You know, because we are in cold and flu season. You're not a doctor, but I mean, people just think that, well, I'm just going to tough this out. I'm just going to tough it out. There obviously were signs for you that was like, this isn't something I'm just going to tough out, and that's why you decided to go to the clinic.
Well, it was my blood oxygen level, really.
Yeah, because you were struggling to breathe. That's I can't even imagine. That's got to be one of the worst feelings there.
They want you at 95%. They want you at 95%. I was under 85%, so I was effed.
Yeah,
and so you know they had me on oxygen right away. They wheeled me into this room. I'm in there. Can't sleep for days. And that's when the hallucinations began. And I'm not kidding you, man. I went into places in my mind. And you know who paid me a visit?
Who's that?
Qui Jon. Qui Jon himself, the voice of Liam Neeson, was swirling around in my head. And Qui Jon was present in my hospital room.
All the ghosts of RFR, past, present, and future, swirling around. Qui Jon.
Oh my! It was crazy. It was crazy. And you know what, man? I could probably summon up that hallucination again right here and right now, and maybe we can hear from Qui Jon himself and get his perspective of what was going on. Well, I think it was my third night in the hospital. I don't remember, but let's ask Qui Jon.
All right, Qui Jon. Qui Jon.
Oh, yeah, sure, you know.
Oh,
there you are, Swank, you little bastard. God, I've missed you, you know.
Well, it's been a while. Yeah, no, doing great. I just, you were in a really interesting position to give us, you know, an idea of what what condition you found Jimmy Mack there in the hospital as you appeared to him at a very, very low moment.
Well, it wasn't good, Swank, I'll tell you. It wasn't pretty either, but so I'm cruising the hospital hallways as I do sometimes, it's boring just being a force spirit, That is confirmed. I am a force spirit. If you saw the Kenobi miniseries, which, spoiler alert,
Right. Well, you have that big, that big moment at the end with Obi-Wan. It's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah, they pulled up the Brinks truck on my driveway, Swank. I'll tell you, they unloaded those bags of cash because, as you know, no per diem, no Liam. I'm not going to show up at that Kenobi show, that shit show, unless they pay me top dollar. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, sure,
All right. But back to Jimmy Mack. Yeah, you're strolling the hospital.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I was like, hey, what's going on up in here, This kid's a Star Wars fan like I've never seen before. And he's laying there. He can't breathe. I'll tell you, it was the damnedest thing, Swank. I come in, I see these people are all in the hospital. They wear these hospital gowns, bright yellow, no back to them whatsoever, And people are just sitting there, in the hospital rooms. It's like, geez, if there's a breeze or something, this poor bastard's going to freeze their asses off.
See all the way to China, right?
Yeah, some say, Carrie Fisher was always saying that Bib Fortuna could see all the way to Florida when she was wearing that metal bikini, because he had a good spot up there,
Yeah.
So a good perspective, Here I am in the hospitals, and Bib Fortuna, he's seeing all the way to Florida. All right, but I digress, So they're all wearing these hospital gowns, and I come in, I see Jimmy Mack laying there. He's got the blood pressure cuff, he's got the IV in the other arm. He's got all these sensors stuck to his chest and his stomach, and he's got these cuffs on his legs, massaging his calves, so he doesn't have a blood clot go to his brains. And I swear, the bastard's sitting in there. You think he's wearing a hospital gown? No, he's in there in his black T-shirt like he's ready to go to the Metallica concert, I asked him about it, when I first appeared in the hallucination. I said, hey, I notice you're not really down with the dress code for patients here at the old hospital. He said it only took him 10 days to realize.
I'm sorry, how many days?
10 days, Swank.
Oh,
Can you even, Swank, can you even count to the number 10?
Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, I got it.
I'm proud of you, Swank, you little bastard. I didn't think you could do it, really. You proved me wrong right there. Yeah, I got faith in you still. God bless you, We'll have to grab a Guinness sometime, you and me.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. I just don't want to have to go to the hospital in order to see you again.
So, that's where I show up, You don't sleep for a few days. You're pumped up with all these pharmaceuticals, and your mind takes you to some weird places, and that's where Jimmy Mack was. He's laying there, and he's got his concert T-shirts on and his black sweatpants, It's a real FU to the whole hospital dress code for patients, But nobody said nothing to him, so there's a little hack for you, Next time you're in the hospital, make that gown mysteriously disappear. That's the Qui Jon. That's a Qui Jon tip of the week right there,
So it's optional. You don't have to wear it, is what you're saying, if you have an alternative.
Oh, yeah, sure, But, Jimmy Mack, he's a defiant little bastard himself. And he sure was throwing around subdued in that hospital room, I'll tell you, especially when I was there paying visits, I think some of it was being directed at me, and I'm a venerable Jedi Knight,
Oh, sure, yeah, but you got to give him a little slack. All the drugs that are coursing through his veins, the virus, the stress, all of that. But no one's at their best in the hospital.
Of course not, Swank. This kid was at rock bottom. So I gave him a few bits of wisdom. I said, your focus determines your reality. And I'll be damned if it didn't work, You could just see in his mind. He was going to happy places like his Star Wars collection, where I scolded him for not having a proper Qui Jon display. And I told him to get to work on that right away. And I think he's going to hold up his end of the deal. What about you, Swank? How many Qui Jons you got on display in your collection? I want to know.
I got a couple. They've done not as many as you deserve. I'll say that, Master Qui Jon. Not as many action figures as someone quite of your stature deserves. But I'm so happy.
You don't seem to remember when the Phantom Menace came out, and there was about 50,000 different versions of my action figure out on those pegs. Remember, they over-merchandised the hell out of that.
Yes, that is true. They did. I don't necessarily. I guess there were a lot of you at the time. I just, that was a long time ago. And when I'm thinking about collecting, I'm thinking about the last 10 years. I'm not thinking about the last 25 years. For God's sake, it's been a long time since you were hanging on the pegs.
Swank, do you provide any kind of representation for something like this? I mean, can you go to the toy distributors in America and represent me and get me,
more
of me in plastic,
Yeah, because
I'd like, yeah.
Yeah,
it needs to be more Qui Jon on the.
I think there's a lot of Star Wars fans and collectors who would agree with you. More Qui Jon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And some of this modern stuff, they just set that aside for a while, put it on the shelf, and let's go back.
Swank, you're fatiguing me. I'm feeling exhausted just listening to you talk. So I have one last thing to say.
Yeah.
And it's the last word of wisdom I told Jimmy Mack as he was sitting there sweating his what off, and the kid was delirious. I'll tell you, I said to him, there's always a bigger fish. And he took that word of advice to heart and ordered the buttered salmon for dinner. And it was one of the most delicious things in that hospital. Everything else pretty much tasted like prison food. But,
Well, how would you know what prison food tastes like, Master Qui Jon?
Swank, I think really we should be getting out of here. I think.
All right. You got to go.
I'm starting to feel I'm starting to feel my spirit fade.
I bet. Got to go strolling down some hospital hallways. Well, if you see anybody we know, please say hello, okay?
Listen, I'm taking a break from all that after that experience with the Jimmy Mack hallucinations and all, That kid exhausted me. He exhausted me. Qui Jon's going to Waikiki.
All right, well, Master, it's always great to see you, and thank you for comforting our friend in his time of need.
Yes, and may the Force be with you.
And you. Yeah, all right. Wow, Master Qui Jon, that is something else, but it's, like I said, it's great that he was there for you. You're down and out, and, better seeing him than, I don't know, beats the alternative.
Yeah, that brought back some memories, I'll tell you right now. Boy, some wild memories. But, I just want to share a few things, and we're going to move on, because enough is enough already. I'm out of there, and I'm ready to talk the wars. But just, to share some things I did share on social media and on Patreon. My boys, as soon as I got home, they asked me, because I was in there for 9 days,
Yeah.
So I missed Thanksgiving. And of course, Thanksgiving morning, I didn't want to have to do anything. I didn't want to, the last thing I wanted to do was spending my time dwelling on the fact that I was in a hospital instead of at home shoving turkey and stuffing into my face with my family. I wanted to act like it didn't exist. So the morning of Thanksgiving, I am just kind of coming to after about, 15 minutes of twilight sleep. And this dude comes in, and he like straps a mask on my face, and then my eyes are closed. I'm just, and then they're hitting the syringe, they're doing all of this stuff to me, and this guy goes, "Hey, my cousin's at the Macy's parade," and I open my eyes. He's got his cell phone right in my sorry, but I don't give a shit. Right in my fucking face, and he goes. And it's a picture of the fucking Mario float. And it's right in my face. And I said, "I'm sorry, man. But I don't even want to think about Thanksgiving today."
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry." I mean, I almost grabbed that phone out of his hand. If I wasn't stuck to all these wires and tubes and stuff, I would have grabbed that phone and thrown it out the window.
At least he could have waited until the Grogu balloon was that'd have been more on brand for you. Mario.
Dude, I heard
what is it? What are you, a Mario pod? You're a Nintendo podcaster?
I had heard that the Grogu balloon did not make an appearance this year.
No, it didn't. It didn't. Which is really strange. Really strange considering that the movie's
remember
coming
those
out.
figures you were quoting?
Well, yeah, you were talking. Yeah, that was big money. And of course, Bob Iger doesn't think that he needs to spend money promoting Star Wars. All you have to do is just walk out the front door and say, "It's here." And of course, all of us lemmings just jump off the cliff.
So just to share some final thoughts on this stupid hospital stay and all the crazy crap I went through, and some of it I'm still dealing with. My time was never boring there. The time flew by, actually. I can't explain it. I couldn't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a night. I spent a lot of time watching the Beatles anthology on Disney Plus and listening to a lot of the deluxe versions of their classic LPs that I never really gave a chance to. But the Beatles are very important to me. And so they were in my ears a lot in the hospital, It was like comfort food.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving, TNT, a lot of people asked if I was watching a lot of Star Wars stuff in the hospital, and the answer is no. But on Thanksgiving morning, TNT was showing A New Hope and Empire. And that's the first time I watched those movies back to back. And I can't even tell you when.
Yeah.
And I picked up a few things, but what really mattered to me was this brief moment on the carbon freezing chamber. When Chewie freaks out and throws the stormtrooper, and Boba Fett pulls up his rifle, and Darth Vader's there, and there's, Han's yelling at Chewie, and Darth Vader's there, and there's a steam coming up from the carbon freezing chamber. There's a shot of Leia, and she looks at Vader, and the acting that Carrie Fisher does in that brief moment is spectacular. She has sheer terror written over her face.
I know the shot you're talking about.
Well, it got me thinking, when was the last time they were in the same room together? And that was on board the Death Star when Darth Vader tortured her.
Right.
Or maybe it's when they blew up Alderaan in front of her on TV. They had that big screen TV and they marched her in there.
Yeah.
And they blew up her
she was
home
there with
planet,
Vader
her
and
family.
Yeah, talk about PTSD.
She was there with Vader and Tarkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the last two times she was in the same room with that guy. And, you can't really count that moment, We would be honored if you would join us. I mean, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But that stare that she gave Vader, I mean, it shivers down my spine. Carrie's she's the greatest. So,
yeah.
So I'm laying there in his bed and I can't sleep for weeks. And I'm at war, within my own body and at times in my own mind. Thanks, Qui Jon.
Oh, yeah, sure,
Sometimes the only power I had was to start smacking skulls around on social media. It was a completely unfiltered battle royale that I make no apologies for. I had certain Star Wars targets, the Star Wars Hotel, the Acolyte, I Love You, Pip, Lesbians in Space, other Star Wars podcasters who attacked us in the past, including a sick and demented former RFR intern, the High Republic, of course, Twitter, generative AI, and a certain Star Wars Nepo baby. So I was going kind of like apeshit crazy online. But to me, like, I was in a battle. I was fighting. And again, I'm not making any excuses for it. And I feel like I was in very good shape of mind when I was getting involved in certain social media wars. But it made me feel good, like I was fighting.
You're just laying around. I mean, you got your phone.
I was in this fight mode, and I felt like fighting on social media sometimes meant I was fighting the things that were infecting me and keeping me in that godforsaken hospital, hooked up to Qui Jon better come back and explain what I'm trying to. This will just be for a second, folks.
We need Qui Jon?
We got to summon him back.
All right,
the whole
hold on.
shebang. You got to get him back here. You know?
I mean, this is not, you can't just, at will.
I know, let's see. Jason.
Hold on. Whoa. Oh, Master Qui Jon.
Oh, yeah, sure,
Maybe you can help Jimmy kind of articulate what he's trying to say here as he's recounting this.
I think he wants me to describe his overall appearance when I first made my appearance in the hospital. And I'll tell you what, Swank, it was rather pathetic, He was laying there with these 2 tubes up his nose. You could call him 2 tubes. Remember that guy from the Rogue One? Yeah,
right.
And he's got the tubes up his nose. I'll tell you, he looked like John Travolta from Battlefield Earth. You ever see that one, Swank?
No, I've never seen it, but of course it's infamous.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, yeah, sure, I think Roger Ebert called it the worst movie ever made. It also has Star Wars Forrest Whitaker in it as well, Saw Gerrera. Remember him?
Of course. How did I forget? Right.
Boy, that Bort Gullet, he sure stole the show, didn't he? I would like to have a few scenes with old Bort Gullet, Could you imagine, the adventures of Qui and Bor? Sure, Sank, have a good day, It's really nice to see you again, but now I'm really kind of sick of you, so I have to go back to being the Force Spirit, on Waikiki Beach,
You're leaving again so soon?
Surf's up, baby.
All right. Well, okay. There he goes. Qui Jon, as quick as he appears, he disappears. So there you go.
All for a Battlefield Earth joke.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That was weird. That doesn't normally happen on old RFR.
Battlefield Earth. Wow. That was going to be the next big thing. That was going to be a saga all into itself.
So a lot of the juicy stuff ended up on the RFR Patreon page, and it's still there. And I also unloaded an awful lot on the RFR Facebook group. So
please join the RFR Facebook group
and watch me have several meltdowns about Pip from The Acolyte. But, it was just like I felt like I was fighting a battle. And so I found myself being a little more aggressive on social media than I typically am. Again, not making any excuses or taking anything back. But I feel like I've won the battle now. I mean, look at me. I'm strong enough to sit here with you and do Rebel Force Radio. This is a huge milestone for me. I've been waiting for this day forever. And I feel like I've won the battle. So I'm moving on from fighter to survivor. That's what's happening here with me. So we are going to focus on the things that uplift us and give us joy. This is the holiday season.
Yes.
And the only way I'll be able to cross, the finish line of recovery is to tap into those things that uplift me and give me joy. And Star Wars certainly is one of those things. And that's what this show is all about. So It's really the best medicine, in my opinion. And that's why I'm so happy to be sitting back in the studio here with you, Swank. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time.
Do you still have that bikini?
I never had that bikini.
Who's got the bikini?
George, and he wears it all the time. And he just won't let anybody else have it.
That bikini. I'm blind in my left eye. That's because of you.
It didn't move, so Boba Fett, if I laid down, could see all the way to Florida.
Oh my goodness me.
So that was nice for him.
I love Florida.
Rebel Force Radio.
Let's get into some voicemail.
Let's get into some voicemail. Yeah, let's do it right now.
Yeah, baby.
You must contact me.
Play back the entire message.
What message?
Message after the message.
The Emperor commands you to make contact with him. It's a trick. Send no reply.
Hi, Rebel Force Radio. Chut. My name is Cameron from Ohio, Columbus. And I just wanted to say you guys are absolutely incredible. I'm a huge fan of your show. I'm absolutely addicted to it. On the weeks that you guys don't release an episode, I'm scratching like an itch. Probably should sign up for Patreon. But nonetheless, I wanted to run an idea past you guys. I feel like relatively we don't have a lot of Darth Vader content. Like, in all seriousness, for him being the big bad, I think relatively we don't have a lot of Darth Vader content. And I thought of a really cool idea of what if there was literally an entire TV show, whether it was Clone Wars style or live action or movie, either one, where it's Darth Vader's point of view and he is on the battlefield as a general dealing with stormtroopers in the middle of a battle fighting rebels. Like, just to have an entire mission from Darth Vader's point of view and even involve Palpatine. I think, and Palpatine's giving him orders saying, hey, you guys gotta take that. So I think that would be a great idea. I would love to hear what you're saying. And plus, seeing Darth Vader in a battlefield, like, I couldn't even imagine how wonderful that would be. But again, huge show, huge fan of your show. I love you guys from Columbus. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Columbus. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Cameron. So Darth Vader, more Darth Vader stories to be told. And I think Cameron's obviously talking about on television, in films, live action, that sort of thing. As far as there being a shortage of Darth Vader stories, I feel that they've included Darth Vader up to this point in all of the potential possibilities that he could show up. And I appreciate the fact that this is a character that they take very, very seriously. They don't want to use Vader willy-nilly. This goes back to, things that Dave Filoni wanted to do with Rebels. I mean, he created another layer of Imperials for the Rebels to always best, so that he didn't have, every episode ending with Darth Vader saying, I'll get you next time, Rebels, because that can't be Darth Vader. Darth Vader doesn't lose every week. So I appreciate the restraint that has been used. However, there is, and I think Marvel Comics, I got to say, not just Marvel, but Dark Horse, the comics publishing wing of the Star Wars franchise has proven that there's a lot of meat on the Darth Vader bone, and there's a ton of really cool stories that could go beyond just really cool visuals. These could be very, very compelling and deep stories involving this character. But Jim, do they run the risk where the more you see Vader, do you run the risk of it lessening the character's impact? Does it dilute the character, water it down?
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because it depends on the medium you're speaking of. You brought up Marvel Comics. That's a great example to use, because Marvel has had some very successful Darth Vader comic book runs, not just arcs, full runs. And it's interesting to get into the head of Vader. Sometimes they would do silly things with the character because they were just doing silly things with all the comic book lines at the same time. I'm looking at you, Dark Droids. You know, where they give Vader a shield and they got a giant staff, and it's and his force powers are amplified, and it's driving him slowly insane, and it's silly. It's real silly stuff because you always have to treat Darth Vader as a human being. I think. I know he's more machine now than man, but I think you should always treat the character as a human being. And so sometimes when they get a little silly by overpowering him, then that can become tiresome. And that can be damaging, perhaps, to the overall legacy of the character. However, you know, what our caller Cameron from Columbus was talking about, I think it sounds like kind of cool for an animated series. Vader Battlefield, and it's Darth Vader, the general, hunting down
the
Jedi.
field general, directing
down, Dave Dorman he painted an incredible piece many years ago, which was Darth Vader on a snowfield, and he was standing in front of a bunch of Imperial troops, and they were flanked by scout walkers and AT-ATs, and Vader had his red saber ignited, held up over his head as he was leading all of these troops in a battle. It wasn't necessarily the Battle of Hoth, but it was just something that Dave Dorman had visualized, and you can easily look that up online and find it. But that's something that I was visualizing when Cameron was talking about his concept for a Darth Vader series.
Yeah.
I don't think you can mess around with Darth Vader in live action films or even on a show unless you have a real solid plan for him. Yeah, it can't be this kind of adventure of the week stuff with Darth Vader. But in an animated format, I think they can do some really effective things. We'll see next year with the Darth Maul series how effective they are with an ongoing series with a guy like Darth Maul.
Right.
And this gives these guys another opportunity to finally have Darth Maul have a showdown with Darth Vader. They have to make that happen at some point. It has to happen. I mean, who doesn't want that? But again, we're talking about the same company that could have given us Mark Harrison and Carrie together, reunited, and they pissed away that opportunity. So I don't have much faith nor confidence that they'll do the right thing. But I am looking forward to the Darth Maul series. Word we're hearing is that show is going to drop in April. So look for it in the springtime. Yeah, Darth Maul, April.
Darth Maul in April. Okay. That seems to jive with what we've sort of been predicting here as we've been mapping out the potential timeline of these releases. And then we would end up with Ahsoka potentially then at the end of the year.
Yeah. We'll get Maul in April, Mando in late May, and then Ahsoka. Remember, Ahsoka dropped in late August 2023, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to hit that landing again for Ahsoka season 2 in 2026.
Yeah. All right. Babe, before we get to the next voicemail, I just got to throw out a thank you to our buddy Turtle Wars, Chris Turtle Wars.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I just want to read from the card that he sent me. I think you probably got a similar delivery, but he says, hey, here's a little something for you as a follow-up to the Coke can collecting this summer. You know, Coca-Cola did the big Star Wars promotion this summer.
Turtle Wars was all in.
Oh,
he was all in.
Not only was he looking to collect every individual can, but he was trying to get the best quality can that he could. No dents, no paint chips. Yeah, Jimmy Mack holding up the beautiful Princess Leia one right now.
These are from Turtle Wars, and it's still got the Coca-Cola in it.
Yeah, right. Yes. So he said, I ended up getting a little in the weeds. Imagine that for a great researcher to do. And search the planet for international variations. Included are a few extras I was able to send to you for your collection. The 500 milliliter can is from Japan, And the 250 milliliter cans are from Australia. Sorry, I didn't have the imagery or the luxury of going through dozens of cases to find mint condition cans. We got what we got. Of course, he's apologizing. He goes, I apologize for not being able to send you the complete sets. Come on. During my next Q&A in a couple of weeks, I'll go over all the details, all the different character sizes I've been able to find collecting the foreign cans. So just want to hold up some of these foreign cans. Here's the big boy, the tall boy. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi right here. And check it out from Japan. You've got the Japanese writing here, all the ingredients in Japanese. And let's see, we got in the slim boy, we got Poe Dameron. We got Poe. We also have Chewie here, the Chewie can. And then last but not least, oh my, C-3PO human cyborg relations right there.
Oh my.
And those are the Australian versions.
I love the 3PO can. That's so cool.
Yeah, the 3PO can is great. So, I mean, so nice of Turtle Wars. And in this case, he put the hole in and drained the Coke out of them, which I need to do with mine because I love the way they look with the top still sealed. It's great. So
I have something I'm sending him as a thank you from the both of us.
Great.
I think he'll really dig it.
Is it a turtle?
He's got enough of those.
Anyway, so thanks to Chris Turtle Wars, and I look forward to, as things ramp back up, hearing his tale of collecting all of these cans on a future Q&A, the saga of the Coke cans. And with that, let's do another voicemail. Let's check in.
As long as we're doing the thanks, let me just give a shout out to everyone who corresponded with me when I wasn't feeling good. It took me well over a week to even work up the strength to inform our Patreon supporters about what was going on. Those were the guys I was concerned with the most because speaking of the RFR Q&A, I mean, I'm going to have to reschedule everything I had booked for late November through all of December. Right. And we'll be doing that on the tail end of this current schedule. So I'll be reaching out directly to our VIPs to schedule. So nobody's going to miss their opportunity to host a Q&A. And I just want to thank everyone who reached out to me on Facebook, email, friends who were texting. I even heard from a few notable Star Wars people. Danny Logan, of course, reached out, and Ashley, and Todd Stashwick I got in touch with from Star Trek, and Dan Madsen.
Yeah.
It was just nice to know I had people in my corner.
Yeah, and you did, and you do, and you do. All right, let's do, actually, you know what, Jim, there is a special voicemail here from you, from Trent, and Trent misses Jimmy Mack.
Hey, guys, this is Trent down in Palm Beach. Just wanted to give a shout out to Jimmy. Hope you're feeling better. Never leave a voicemail, but really was just thinking about you after reading your post, and we really miss you. I'm sure that Jason can't do any podcast by himself because he will fall asleep after about an hour. Just kidding. Love both of you guys, but it'd be great to get you back. But number one thing is feel better, Jimmy. We all love you. We all miss you. I've been listening for probably about 4 years, I guess, since I've been driving Uber and listen to you guys all the time. You got me through some really tough spots. I actually thought about suicide a few years ago, and listening to your podcast gave me some stuff to get through. Went through a divorce, a stroke, was given 6 months to live, all sorts of craziness over the last 3 years, and just your podcast really pulled me through, giving me something to laugh about, and just don't even know what to say. Just, you guys have no idea how much you mean to people like me. Grew up with Star Wars, 50 years old, so the OG from the original, and it's just, I don't know, but your podcast, I used to listen to about 10 or 15 different podcasts, but yours are such light years ahead of everybody. I've never donated to anybody on Patreon just besides you guys. Pretty tight with my money, but you guys deserve it. But anyways, just wanted to give you well wishes. Can't wait to get you both back. Jason, take care of him. You know, we got new shows coming out. We got an exciting time with Star Wars. Just stay healthy, man. Stay healthy. Love you guys.
I tell you, you fall asleep during one film commentary and you never live it down, okay? You know.
I'll never forget Whitwer. He was like, wait, is somebody snoring? Jason. We're like, Jason.
Whoa. We used to woke up, you were later. Oh my God. Those were the days when the kids were little and it was like, no, I got to wait till the kids go to bed to record and we're up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Anyway, Cameron, excuse me, Garrett. Yeah. No, Trent. Trent is this voicemail. Trent, dude, you laid a lot on us. I'm so glad that you've come through the other end of all that stuff. That we could play even a small role in that is more than you can imagine. It's extremely humbling. And just keep the faith, man. Nothing is ever that bad. And we're just going to sit here and keep doing what we're doing. We're going to laugh our way and enjoy our way through all of this stuff. And hopefully we'll always be a place where you can come to when, the rest of the world is kicking you in the teeth. So we're glad that we can fulfill that. And again, I'm so glad that you're on the other side of all that stuff and how kind of you to reach out.
Yeah, despite, me telling you guys about all the crap I had to go through, I was always very well aware that there are others in the world less fortunate than me.
Yeah.
And Trent, hearing what you went through, man, you're a survivor, man. You're strong. You're a Jedi. I got faith in you, bro. You got this. Let's go. We got the rest of our lives ahead of us. We can't be boxed in by anything from the past. And we can always do things to improve our own personal health. So I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. And that line about Jason falling asleep was the funniest damn thing I've heard all week, man. Thank you so much for that. God bless you, man.
And 50, man. We're only halfway through the race. Come on. 50 is only halfway through.
I plan on doing this till I'm 100, Swank, so strap in.
We got another voicemail here. This is from Garrett. And I like Garrett's question here. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hey, Chut, fellas. My name is Garrett. I'm from Colorado. I wanted to ask, I've been listening for a few years now. This is the first time I've ever called. I wanted to ask, do you believe or do you guys think that the Disney movies, the latest, trilogy that came out, are going to be looked at similarly to the prequel trilogy? In that when it first came out, it wasn't received that well. But now, you get Hayden Christensen and all of those guys and girls at different events, and they're loved and adored, and they're like, man, this is way different than when it first came out. And obviously, I'm only 28 years old, and Star Wars, at least for me, were the prequel trilogy. Those are the ones that I got to go see. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie, and I love them. But I know that they weren't received well at the time by fans, and so I'm just curious if you guys would think, that the Disney trilogy, as tough as it may seem, will kind of be received the same way, and in 15, 20 years from now, when all the kids that were watching it, are grown up and then are like, man, this was my Star Wars. Because ultimately, I've heard this said a few different times too, Star Wars is for kids. I'm 28 years old now and I still love it, but that is ultimately the fact. And just like, I just wanted to hear what you guys would say on that. So, anyways, God bless. Hope you guys are doing well. Bye.
I could go a lot of different ways on this, but I see no reason why it won't be massively nostalgic for future generations, the generation that grew up on it. The advantage that I think the prequels had over the sequels is that for those of us that were around for the release of those films, whether all three of them or a couple of them or one of them, it typically hit us at a very, very influential moment in our lives where we could be easily influenced, our childhoods. And it imprinted something on us. And then 20 years later, a lot of us were maybe starting to have families. They're having children of their own. And it was another like major moment. And all of a sudden, this reminder of what you loved about being a kid and your childhood sort of came back. And so, yes, I think there was obviously initial disappointment. It wasn't necessarily the stories we'd been telling ourselves in our heads, our minds, our imaginations during that 16-year drought. But at the same time, it was the same generation re-experiencing new stories, and these stories were written and produced and directed by George Lucas himself. So there's I hate to say it, but there's a purity, there's an integrity that connects all six of those films that's not there with the sequel trilogy. However, I don't want to discount, Jim, the fact that there were plenty of kids, lots of kids. These movies made a ton of money. And that means there are a lot of butts in seats, a lot of return viewers. And so there's got to be a generation of Star Wars fans out there where Rey and Poe and Finn are their Star Wars.
Of course. And they will get older and have disposable income and fond memories of their childhoods that they would like to recreate or even share with their own children. And so that's when you'll start to see the value of the sequel trilogy really begin to pay dividends. But there's a big difference, and a lot of people like to compare the reception of the prequel trilogy to the reception of the sequel trilogy. And they like to point at things like how the prequel trilogy seems to have really gained a lot of traction since it was originally released back in 1999, starting with The Phantom Menace. What the prequel trilogy will have that the sequel trilogy can never have is the foundation of Star Wars is established in the original trilogy, because the prequel trilogy was a roadmap, and all signs, every road, every highway led to the original trilogy. The sequel trilogy does not benefit from that. So what's the solution? Episodes 10, 11, and 12. Competently made, well thought out. Could fill in all the plot holes and solve all the mysteries of the sequel trilogy and actually provide substance to the poorly planned out and sadly executed sequel trilogy. We were being experimented on like lab rats throughout the process of that sequel trilogy. Don't think we didn't notice. But the kids who grew up with it will develop that nostalgia. I predict it and I guarantee it. It will happen. We're all chasing our childhood. That's the time in our lives where the biggest impacts were made. Now, something that Star Wars, and I'll even argue the prequel trilogy, something that those things had going for it where they were the best things around. Now, really, The Lord of the Rings was a strong contender for competition with the prequel trilogy. You know, those comparisons were constantly being made. Those films were being released concurrently with the prequel trilogy. But what does the sequel trilogy have? What's made the huge impact on kids' lives during the era of the sequel trilogy? Well, Harry Potter is still very important, I would say. And then there are things that have emerged like Minecraft and video games like Grand Theft Auto. These are madly popular. And these are the things that might represent nostalgia for childhood for kids when they grow older, far outweighing the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Those are my predictions. I think you could really add a lot of backbone to the sequel trilogy if you release another trilogy that explains all of the gaping plot holes and inconsistencies of the sequel trilogy. I mean, there is a way to fortify that mess, and it can be done, but just reverse engineer it. Compared to the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, now you have things that you can do, in real time as far as the chronology goes. And maybe that's what Lucasfilm is trying to achieve with a film like Star Wars Starfighter, or maybe the Simon Kinberg trilogy, which we heard is not exactly a priority at Lucasfilm anymore. That's what we heard. Mm-hmm. And there's also news that the new Jedi Order, Charmin Obeid Chinoy Daisy Ridley film is starting to gain some traction. So, it's the race for Rey, as we call it here on RFR. I think Jason coined that. I don't remember, but it's perfect for the situation. So thanks to Garrett. The other thing is, whenever people defend the sequel trilogy, they always have to say Star Wars is for kids. Or they say silly things like, oh, I hope you enjoy your space wizards with their laser swords. And it's demeaning. And the Star Wars for kids thing, Star Wars should always be for kids. It should be for families. It should be for everyone. And you can't just say it's a kiddie show. Now, come on. You got to know better. Star Wars, 1977. That's when it was established, my friend. Star Wars is for everyone. So enough of this Star Wars is for kids business. Now, obviously, it makes a huge impact on kids. It made a huge impact on this kid back in 1977, and that kid back in whatever Swank decided to go
83?
Was 83? Was that the first time you saw a Star Wars movie? Was 1983?
In the theater, yeah. Mm-hmm. 83.
When was the first time you saw a Star Wars film?
It would have been probably either late 82 or early 83. It was that initial HBO run of A New Hope.
Locked and loaded. And you didn't see Empire until after you saw Jedi. That's precious to me.
That's the machete order. But I had to,
That's
but
blender.
you know what though? I had the the blender version, but I did have the albums, the story album. And I had the story book. So when I finally saw Empire, in some ways, I felt like, I had already seen it, but there were so many scenes that I hadn't seen, because I'm just used to, I had the 45, then I had the double LP, and then I had the, the storybook. And so I tried like hell to, make up for it. But man, when it hit Laserdisc, my uncle gave me that call. Came in, buddy, let's go. And finally got to see it. So
now that's a great memory, man. That's a great memory. Remember Laserdiscs? I have the trilogy on Laserdisc, and I've had it for years. I was at some sort of music fest or something, like a record under a tent, and I saw it sitting there for $10, the entire trilogy. And so I'm like, well, I got to get this. And I've been looking. I haven't even been looking. Who am I kidding? I don't own a Laserdisc player. So I guess I'm in the market for one. If you got one and it works, and I can trust you, then let's make a deal. Yeah. So,
some great stuff on that. Some great commentaries and all kinds of really cool stuff. I'm guessing a lot of it has probably been ported over to YouTube, but man, those were the days when there was no such thing as directors' commentaries and stuff like that, but they did it for Laserdisc. Yes. It was a big deal. Yeah. We alluded to it earlier. Patreon, of course, is an incredible way to get more Rebel Force Radio in your life. It's the best way to get more RFR. It's for the RFR super, super fans, and we love it so much, and there's so many different ways to support RFR on Patreon, but it's very affordable, and just a couple of bucks, and you get all the exclusive podcasts. You get the Babu Freaks, you get the Q&A, you get the RPG, all of that stuff. And Jim, even I am going to start with some exclusive Patreon content. It's been percolating for too long, and I'm finally just going to go ahead and do it because you know what they say? They say perfection is the enemy of good. And I just want to get it out there and make it good and do it. And so I am a collector, as Jimmy Mack is. And my collection, obviously, very heavily Star Wars, but all kinds of different franchises and crosses into all different stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to toy around in my studio here. And so we put something on over on Patreon. I've really been slow in unboxing my Black Series, and I buy them by the case typically because I want to make sure I get one of each figure. And so I've got about, 30 sitting here that I haven't unboxed. And so I sent Mac a photo a couple days ago. I said, hey, if you wouldn't mind, post this up on Patreon and we'll see who wants me to open what. And I got to tell you, I think there's a winner. Although some people were, I don't know if they understood what we were asking. I was saying, look, here's the photo. Tell me which characters, which figures do you want me to unbox first out of this photo? And like, I think it was Eric from Phoenix was like, Sand Trooper. And I'm like, there's no Sand Trooper in this picture, man. What are you talking about? Who's this Sand Trooper? But,
oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, it was this big picture of like 40 Black Series action figures unopened. And I tried to make a poll on Patreon.
Kind of hard
so
with
people
40, right? 40 options.
People could just, there's like 40 of them. And so I tried to make a poll on Patreon so people could just vote by just clicking. But then Patreon, when I went to click on number 26, Patreon's like, oh, no, we only allow 25. You're done, son. You're done, son. Hit the road, Jack, with your Black Series action figures. But I'm so excited for toying around with Swank.
So we got the winner.
Great feature. That's
we got the winner.
Great feature.
We're going to unbox the Jedi Temple Guard. That seems to be the most popular one right there. So we're going to unbox it. I'm going to show you the figure. We're going to talk about the character and any other versions that have been immortalized in plastic of the character. If I have the other versions, we'll do a little bit of comparison. And we're just going to have a conversation about collecting in general and why do you collect what you collect. I've kind of redefined some of my collecting rules in the last few months, and I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, toying around with Swank coming to Patreon very, very soon.
Yes, I can't wait. And also I'm going to be pulling out the camera and shooting things in my basement. I think I'm calling it something like Greetings from the Collection or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But we released our first one. It was actually recorded before I ended up going to the hospital and all that crap. But I found it on my iPhone. Michael shot it, and it features me, and it's the Darth Revan and Darth Malak action figures from the 30th anniversary line back in 2007.
Excellent.
And so I do an unboxing of those, I guess, and I go fishing those. They all came with collectible medallions. So I've had these two gaping holes in the medallion collection album for all of these years. And so finally I just ripped those suckers off the card. Like
Feels
Kyle
good,
Newman says, watching me open up Star Wars action figures is like watching an otter lay on his back eating seafood, shellfish, opening shellfish.
Yeah.
So my God. So we'll both have videos.
Yeah.
And we'll put them up on Patreon, and there'll be Patreon exclusives. And we hope you guys enjoy checking out our collection. It's our passions, as Star Wars is, and it's no fun collecting unless you can share your collection. That's something I learned from Steve Sansweet himself at Rancho Obi-Wan. Steve's been in touch, and Newman's been checking in on me constantly. It's just,
I knew she would.
Poor Anne. Oh, God, she said she was crying, and I just, God, and the last thing I want to do is lay my bummers on anyone. But when you're taken out of the game for so long, there's nothing you can do but submit and just let things happen.
Right.
And try to be strong and positive and bust some skulls on social media every once in a while when you have to and stuff like that.
Well, hey, if you're worried or concerned that this is the last RFR for the year, it is not. We will be back next week with a special Christmas show, and it's a bit of a family affair. So, Mac, you want to tell us about some of the details here with the Christmas special this year?
Well, I'm sure longtime listeners will remember. Man, I can't even tell you what year it was. I guess it was 2008, maybe 2009. And my son Dylan was 5 or 6 years old. And I was so proud of him. He took upon himself to watch the original trilogy by himself. I walked by a room and he was laying there on the floor, pointed right at the TV set with his hands behind his head, laying flat out on the floor, and then looking up at the TV set. And I noticed it was Yoda on Dagobah. And I said, what is Star Wars on TV? He's like, no, shush, I'm watching it. Quiet. I was like, oh, jeez. So I thought it would be fun to interview him when he was 5 years old after he watched the original trilogy for the first time. And so now here we are. He just celebrated his 23rd birthday. My little boy's a man now, you know, and we just were over some Jack Daniels one night after work. I mean, Dylan's really my best pal, and I've been kind of a drinking pal for him from time to time. He's a working man now, and I can appreciate that, and I treat my boys like men. And so we were sharing some Jack Daniels, and he brought it up.
Yeah.
He said, remember that time we were sitting on the futon and I was a little kid and you interviewed me about Star Wars? And I said, yeah. And so we thought it would be fun then to bring him in all these years later and ask him the exact same questions and see how they sync up with his answers from when he was 5 years old.
Let's see if 18 years makes a difference.
So we have a clip here of the original interview back from, like I said, it was like 2008, 2009 or something, where I am interviewing my then 5-year-old son, Dylan. Maybe he's 5 or 6, 7. I don't know. I'm going to have to research all of this stuff to get exact dates. I'll have them next week when we have Dylan on the show and we interview him and ask him the same questions. But here he is, little kid. I'm talking to him about Empire Strikes Back. And this is from way back when.
Now, what about what Darth Vader said to Luke?
Luke, I am your father.
Yes. You knew that, though, right? That was already kind of spoiled for you?
Yeah.
You obviously knew that. Now, how did you know that before we watched the movies?
There's a Star Wars Robot Chicken that it says, Luke, I am your father.
You saw them talking about it on Robot Chicken, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Robot Chicken. Spoiled it for an entire generation. Gotta love that voice, that little kid voice.
Yeah, man, my little guy doesn't sound like that anymore. I'll tell you that right now. Shut up, Dad. You know. But what a sweetheart. So we're gonna isolate all those answers he gave all those years ago from the original interview, and we're gonna sit Dylan down and we're gonna talk to him. But Dylan of course, he had some demands to make before he agreed to actually do the show.
Right.
He said, well, if I'm going to be there, Baby Belushi has to be there. So Chris Sorrentino, Baby Belushi, will also be joining us. They're both celebrating recent birthdays.
Oh, okay.
And Dylan just adores Chris. And
well, who doesn't?
I just think he, wants to virtually party with him a little bit. To celebrate their birthdays. So that'll be coming.
It's always a good time, yeah. Chris brings the good time.
And Dylan's taking it seriously, too. He's rewatching the original trilogy. You'd think he knows it all like the back of his hand, but, I don't make any demands on my kids. I don't say they have to watch Star Wars 500 times. They've seen Star Wars plenty of times. But he wanted to sit down and watch the original trilogy, 1, 2, 3. And just be fully prepared like he was when he was a little kid, 5 years old, and I interviewed him for the first time. So he wants to get back into that frame of mind, and it should be a blast. So I'm really looking forward to next week, and that'll be our holiday show, and we'll celebrate Star Wars Christmas together.
It'll be great. It'll be great. All right, let's catch up on some news. It's been a few weeks, and there is lots to cover, so let's do it right now.
I have good news for you, my lord.
That's good news. Come closer, I have good news.
All right, well, we had heard, yes, it's official that Star Wars, the original theatrical cut, is coming back to theaters to celebrate the 50th anniversary, but we got a release date. Jim, I assumed it was going to be sometime later in the spring, before the release of Starfighter, but no, we're looking at February 19th, 2027, a limited time engagement per StarWars.com. The 5 decades since the original debut in 1977. They are saying that this is a newly restored version of the original theatrical cut. This is as it was shown in cinemas in 1977. There are no further details, at least official details, about what the screening format is going to be, what are the audio sources that are going to be had for this mix, and of course, is this going to lead to streaming, home video release, what? Very scant on details there, but you can mark your calendar February 19th, 2027. Now, it's interesting to note that there was no other information about Empire or Jedi receiving similar treatment, though the leaks that led us all to realize that this was actually happening several months ago did point to Empire and Jedi also being prepped. So could be that we're looking at a sort of a truncated release schedule, a la the 1997 special editions that came out in January, February, and March that year. We could see maybe a February, March, April, and then lead right into Starfighter in May. But those details are not, they're not. Lucasfilm isn't talking about anything beyond A New Hope. They could be hedging their bets. They could be looking to see what the box office is, or, and I hope this isn't what the case is, that they're going to make us wait until the 50th anniversaries of Empire and then the 50th anniversaries of Jedi to really milk this. So, any speculation on your part?
I'm team milk this. I don't think they're going to release this stuff until we get to, 2030, 2033.
Oof.
You have to wait 50 years of Empire, 50 years of Jedi. Those are marketing opportunities. Those are money-making opportunities. I think it's too much if you try to drop it all at once in 1 year. The special edition year, that came 2 years before the release of the prequels.
Right.
And that was really very clever of George Lucas to do that, because he was able to measure the amount of fan and general audience desire to see Star Wars again back in the theaters. And he used the special editions to gauge that interest. And so he knew he was on the right
fundraise
path.
for what he needed to make the prequels.
Well, exactly. So I think they're going to drop these things once every 3 years. It's a perfect way to hype Star Wars a few months before Star Wars Starfighter. And I'm really looking forward to it. I have some information from our Bothan Spies.
Ooh, do tell.
They've seen footage. They know what's up. And they tell me that whoever was responsible for the restoration cares very deeply for the film. So it's getting the respect of experts who look at things like colorization and whether or not the blacks are being crushed and things like that. Things I never see. Things that Kyle Newman talks about. But I never see it because I'm blind as a bat. Actually, I just should say that. My vision's perfect. But okay, so they said in the footage they saw, the only mistake that they've seen thus far was in a single clip from A New Hope, where a button on Vader's chest panel was colored blue instead of green.
Oh. It's as if a million 501st voices cried out and was suddenly silenced.
That's hilarious. He says it only happened once.
Wow.
And they're pretty sure it'll be fixed before the restoration.
I would hope
is finished.
so. I will
keep your eyes open.
Refund. Jeez.
Hey, man, that button is blue. It's supposed to be green. I want a refund.
Jeez.
All right. So check it out.
Yeah.
These guys, like I said, they've seen footage, and they claim that they saw a restored copy of the deleted scene from A New Hope, where Luke looks through his macro binoculars to see the space battle above Tatooine. With Treadwell. Yeah. And the moisture evaporator.
Yeah.
And Luke sees a flash in the sky. He looks up with his macro binoculars. He sees the Rebel blockade runner and the Star Destroyer firing on each other.
Wormy lives.
Wormy's back, baby. But I mean, I find it very interesting. Maybe it's not going to be for the theatrical release, but maybe for an eventual Blu-ray release where we'll actually get nice versions of those deleted scenes. The one they have out there is crap, man. It's filled with, scratches and that little counter thing with the numbers flying by. And, that was on the 2011 Blu-rays, right? But our sources are telling us that they've seen that scene in very high resolution.
Wow.
And void of all those imperfections.
Well, what do you think about the pot? Would you like to see it put in the release that comes out in February? Or do you want this to actually be a re-experience of what you experienced in 1977?
All right. So the first time I went online was like 1995, and I started busting skulls in the AOL chat rooms, okay?
Uh-huh. Noticing a theme.
Yeah. Well, things never change. And people were talking about the special editions. And I recall posting there, one of the earliest things I've ever posted online in my life. I think we were paying by the minute to use
probably
AOL back then. And with the dial-up. And
this post cost Jimmy Mack $15. He's about to lay on us here.
So I posted, hey, if George is going to be restoring scenes, he better restore all that stuff with Luke and Anchorhead at the beginning. And I remember all in caps, give us what we want. Give the fans what they demand. Like as if George is reading that going, oh, geez. Yeah. So naturally, I would like to see it actually dropped into that. But I think that ruins the integrity of what they're trying to do.
That's where I'm at. I think that I'm very excited about this because I've never seen the original theatrical release of A New Hope in theaters. I never saw it. By the time I saw A New Hope in a movie theater, it was the special editions in 1997. So it's very exciting for me. The other thought that I had, since you brought up George, is there's a part of me that feels a little bad because this is not, as far as we know, what George wanted. It's not what George wanted. And I feel a little hypocritical when I condemn some decisions made in modern Star Wars that are an absolute defiance of George. And at the same time, I'm celebrating and excited that we're going to see this thing that George really feels as a filmmaker, as an artist, is incomplete. That's what he believes. This is an incomplete version of his film.
Well, just let me put it bluntly. George Lucas has been full of crap regarding this for years. He tries to hide film history. He tries to cover up things that he considers to be his mistakes or flaws in his precious Star Wars movies. I've been disgusted with George over the years, how he's buried all of the original 1977 versions. That was what made the impact. That is what changed an industry. That is what countless numbers of visual artists and sound designers worked on frame by frame. And George just wants to throw all that away to create this Shangri-La version of Star Wars to live on in perpetuity. That's a joke. That's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face to the history of film, and that's a slap in the face to any fan who was around in 1977. Disney now owns Star Wars, and they're being smart. They're going to save it. They're going to save the original. I mean, you can have as many special editions as you want. You can McClunky us until the sun comes up in the morning. But I'll be damned if you're going to take that 1977 original film and try to hide it from everyone because of your dissatisfaction, billionaire. So, no, George Lucas has been robbing from the history of cinema. And I applaud Disney for doing the right thing and for saving Star Wars 77. I have more information from our spies.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah. They're restoring supplementary material, such as deleted scenes like the original Jabba with actor Declan Mulholland.
Oh, the human acorn.
Yeah. So I think they're going through all the deleted scenes too. And I think this will be for a Blu-ray. They're also going to upgrade the making of Star Wars documentary. So that's going to be upscaled.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's going to be upscaled to 2K. Do you like that, Swank?
I like that.
2K?
Yeah, 2K Swank.
Okay. All right, good. Well, if you like it, I like it.
All right. No, that's good.
And they're also one final thing from our spies. Bothan Spies. Many Bothans died to bring us a separation. Okay. They're also making a documentary about the restoration process. And the documentary will feature interviews with Marshall Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and George Lucas, and then in parentheses, archival.
Ooh.
So we're presuming that's archive footage of George.
Yeah.
So perhaps he did not want to participate in this.
Yeah.
Because he's too busy trying to rewrite history.
Yeah.
So
well, and the fact that Marsha's in it, I don't ever see George participating in anything that Marsha is, because in addition to rewriting history, George also tried to write her out of history, and
That's right.
Made sure that future tellings of the making of that film did not include her at all, when she was actually quite influential and instrumental in making that film to what it was.
You're absolutely right. And she does deserve the credit. And I know it probably shocks and concerns some of you listeners to hear me talking about George in such harsh terms. But I'm unmovable on this particular topic. And I think George is acting like a spoiled brat when it comes to the original print of 1977 Star Wars. He's just being a brat. And, I mean, it kind of hurts me to even say that, because you know how much I revere the guy. You know how much I respect and look up to him, and how I followed his history intimately through research and discussion and trips to Skywalker Ranch and things like that. So, I mean, sometimes you have to take accountability. And I think George needs to take accountability for his really misguided attempt to bury the original Star Wars 77.
It is a little delusional, I mean, in this...
A little?
It's especially in today's modern world where nothing disappears. Nothing goes away forever. There's receipts on everything. So...
Disney's doing the right thing here.
I agree. And here's the thing. If George was that concerned about the original films being released as they were in their original format, then he shouldn't have sold them.
Yeah, right. Oh, gotta make a museum. Who asked for that? Unless you're filling that thing up with Star Wars. You got one room with Star Wars in it out of 33 in that giant place? What are you, mad?
Are you mad? All right, let's move on to the future of Star Wars. Shawn Levy, while out promoting Stranger Things, by the way, Jim, you were laid up. Did you happen to catch any of the latest season of Stranger Things?
Nah, man.
Did you tap out? You tapped out.
I tapped out second season. I felt
got too old.
What are they doing? Ride around on like huffy bicycles with the walkie-talkies, and they're like 25 years old. What the hell is that? That 11, she's married. In real life. IRL.
I mean, my God, John Bon Jovi's kid. So, Star Wars' own John Bon Jovi.
So now she's 11 Bon Jovi.
Yeah, right. 11 Bon Jovi. Anyway, so Shawn Levy was out promoting the new season of Stranger Things. He did some interviews, of course, and revealed some new info about Star Wars Starfighter. And Jim, we got a lot of quotes and audio highlights here. Set us up. What are we going to hear first?
I literally wrapped my shoot day on Star Wars Starfighter on Wednesday night, got on a plane
London, I will know.
London,
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
and arrived here in LA in the middle of the night. And the next day, i.e. yesterday, I was at the premiere of our last season on Stranger Things, and I'll be here for another day and then back to work in London to shoot the second half of my Star Wars movie. It's a lot, but it's a lot of very fun things.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, for somebody to be working in two of the biggest franchises going right now, Stranger Things and Star Wars, I mean, I kind of forgot that about, Levy as we were, his involvement in Stranger Things from the very beginning, something that I just kind of, I don't know, I sort of knew, but it was on the periphery. And so the guy knows his way around big franchises, that's for sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, and of course he did that Daredevil Wolverine thing. Shawn, he's all over the place. He's a rock star, though. You got to give him props. He goes right from Star Wars in London, flies out to L.A. for some Stranger Things action, and he's so cool about it. He seems very friendly. There's a very soothing presence to the way the guy talks, and he's got the gift of gab. Sometimes he gives us large chunks of information, like in this next clip, where he talks about how working on Star Wars, he does feel the pressure of working on a franchise like Star Wars. He knows we're out there watching his every move. And but he is approaching this entire Star Wars Starfighter with a lot of originality, a very unique approach to Star Wars. Now that could scare you a little bit, but I think he understands like a lot of those elements that need to be in Star Wars, and he exploits that without getting nostalgic.
The pressure to get it right is intense.
Yes.
But I've come along, and this project came along at a really, really opportune moment. Because when Kathy called me in August of 2022 and said, I want you to do a Star Wars movie. And I said, well, what's it a prequel to? What's it a sequel to? Which one is it? The answer was, it's whatever you want it to be. You pick the writer, you pick the story, just imbue it with the feeling that your movies have, and let's make an entirely original Star Wars movie. And so this one, Starfighter, is written by Jonathan Tropper, with whom I've collaborated many times. And I will tell you, there is no mandate or interference other than the constant encouragement to make this new. And that's the truth. Unlike Lord and Miller, who were telling a solo prequel story, unlike Rise of Skywalker, which was
Yes.
a sequel to two other movies and ultimately a ninth film in the Skywalker saga. Starfighter is all new characters based on new ideas that Jonathan and I cooked up alone and together.
Bold.
And
I like it.
And then I started talking to Ryan Gosling, and this movie that Kathy and Alan Bergman and Bob Iger greenlit at the end of last year, 2024, it's in a time period that's never been in a Star Wars movie. It is not about legacy characters. And while it does have, I hope, the sense of joy and adventure that A New Hope introduced us to back in 1977, this is a new Star Wars adventure. And the only notes I've ever gotten from the so-called nerd army of Lucasfilm Protectorate has been, make it new. Make it new.
That's it.
And every time I've asked, well, should I use this character that was maybe in that movie? Every time it's, you know what? People have seen that. Do something new.
Wow.
And so that encouragement has been remarkable. And I would tell you honestly, so far, I've had more freedom on this movie. It's equal to any other movie I've made, including the original movies like Free Guy and Atom Project, where it was based on no legacy. So far, it's very, very liberating.
I want to know who this nerd protectorate is. Is he talking story
he's
group?
talking about
Is
like
he
the
talking
story
Filoni?
group. Filoni for sure is part of all of that mess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the nerd protectorate. It cracked me up when he said that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we should start calling him, the nerd protectorate. This is a new phenomenon. I mean, normally when we hear a Star Wars creative talk about the process and involving story group, it's and their encyclopedic knowledge is amazing, and I send them these questions and they answer them right back, and they tell me what planet this should be, and they tell me what person this and what Shawn Levy is telling us is that even though he volunteered to throw in some of these references, Easter eggs, whatever the case is, the answer from Story Group, the answer from guys like Filoni is, no, just make it new. Just make it new. And he finds that liberating.
Very interesting. Of course it would be liberating. But what does that tell us what's going on behind the scenes?
They're winging it?
I think they're tired. I think they realize that all that protectorating has not really benefited, honestly, the franchise. And Jim, you said it was waving the white flag when they wrapped up the Skywalker saga. I think we're seeing another white flag being waved here when Shawn talks about the story group. We can assume that's who they are. Who he's referring to, saying, don't worry about it, just make it new, move on, move along.
Well, it sure sounds like a Shawn Levy production more than a Lucasfilm production.
Yes.
Except then you get into ILM and all that stuff. Of course, we understand what those geniuses do, and there's no pushback from us there. But when you talk about the nerd protectorate story group and all those yahoos, it's the same old executives in the same old offices over there that have been there for decades, making the same mistakes over and over again. There's no accountability at Lucasfilm ever, and it's frustrating. But what isn't frustrating is listening to Shawn Levy talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think he does so in quite a passionate way. And so what we've learned so far, we're halfway through shooting Star Wars Starfighter in London. Okay? There's no studio pressure on Shawn. So he's kind of loose as a goose. The film was going to stand on its own with new characters and no old ones. Now, we have heard the rumor that Rey could possibly be showing up at the end to take ownership or to take, to apply her guidance as a Jedi or Force user to the what's his name, Flynn Gray character, the kid character in Starfighter. So we don't know. Let's jump to On Film with Kevin McCarthy now. Here's some real interesting news about Shawn Levy and about something he discovered on the set while he was shooting the film and adjustments he had to make.
I'd say on most of my movies, there was something unexpected. On Starfighter, it was, we had a whole different idea for something in the third act, and then things didn't align, and I was forced to come up with a new idea. And I'm literally right now shooting that section of the movie.
Wow.
And every day I'm grateful that the way I was supposed to do it didn't work out.
Wow.
Because the new idea that it forced me to explore is so much better than the original idea would have been.
All right. That's freeing.
So, well, I'll tell you this. I've heard people, wring their hands online. Oh, they're rewriting the film, and the actors are already there and on set and everything, and this production is falling apart just like all the other Star Wars productions are falling apart, and they're freaking out. But let me remind you of something, okay? When George Lucas was shooting the original Star Wars in 1975 and 1976, he had to rewrite the end of the second act, and he killed off Ben Kenobi. And this is while they were shooting the film. It's the fourth revised draft. And he had to present that to Alec Guinness in person on the set, while Alec was probably in his dressing room, dressed up as Obi-Wan Kenobi. George rolls in there, we're killing you. All you do is stand around. It'd be more powerful if you die. And Alec didn't like the sound of that. You think he wanted his character to get killed off while he's already on the set and shooting the original Star Wars? No, but everyone has to agree. It was the right move. It was the best thing to do for the story. And George made the tough decision on the set. They rolled into the set with the fourth draft, and then they rolled out of the set with the fourth revised draft. I think another big change George made at that point is he revised Luke's name from Starkiller to Skywalker. That was a big one, They actually, that scene where he busts in to save Leia, that was originally shot as, I'm Luke Starkiller. I'm here to rescue you. You're who? Luke Starkiller. I think there's something that exists in the Lucasfilm vaults.
Well,
of that scene being shot.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're approaching this where they understand how important it is to get it right. And if that means recalibrating right there on set to ensure that happens, I'm all for this idea that I understand. Look, we just endured 3 films that had absolutely no plan, that were really just sort of thrown together. It was a relay race of creatives, pass the baton, all of that. But that's not to say that you don't want a level of spontaneity and following hunches and creative ideas as they emerge. I'm glad for that. And as you mentioned before, it's not like they were had a release date for this film before they even announced or before they even hired people to work on it. So
that always drove me crazy. You know that.
Yeah.
Now in this final clip, this is a good one because it's breaking news. Shawn Levy reveals in this interview with the On Film with Kevin McCarthy show, he reveals who the composer of the Star Wars Starfighter soundtrack will be.
Who's scoring it?
Thomas Newman.
I
know, bro.
Me?
I know, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I literally
wait.
I don't know if that's public, so now it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we're breaking news here on Film with Kevin McCarthy.
Guy's orgasming.
I love
Tom Newman. You understand? Like, if
gosh.
you ask me to name my favorite scores, 5 of the top 10 are Tom Newman.
Oh yeah.
Shawshank, Road to Perdition, Nemo, American Beauty.
Yeah.
The guy is a maestro. And I was thinking about this movie and what I need the music to be, because it wants to be sort of classically inspired, but no, it's not going to be remixes of Williams cues. It may be inspired by some of that, but I knew that I need a big-hearted movie score from a composer who, like John Williams, doesn't shy away from themes. In other words, you know, every movie should have a musical theme. Deadpool and Wolverine has it. Adam Project. I think every movie needs it.
And Rob did an amazing job on
Agreed.
Deadpool,
And
Wolverine.
Simonson is phenomenal. He did Adam Project and Deadpool and Wolverine. But what John Williams sort of embraces is a movie can have multiple themes. And so he speaks of this, there was Leia's theme. There was the Force theme, known as Binary Sunset. There's the Imperial March. So not shying away from myriad musical signatures that help tell the narrative alongside and in addition to the words and the images. So I called up Tom Newman. You understand, like, I'm a fan. Like, the way you reacted, that's how I feel too, Kevin. And I said, hey, it's Shawn Levy. Would you ever consider? And he said, send me the script and describe your vision. And I did both those things, and it was yes.
Dude.
It was yes. And I'm so stoked.
Reports are saying that Tom Newman got the job after Randy Newman did not answer Shawn Levy's phone call.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we could have had Star Wars. That's right. That was the first thing I thought of was that great Mad TV sketch with Will Sasso as Randy Newman riding the thief for Star Wars. Randy Newman, doopy-doo. But Thomas Newman is his cousin. So they are. It's all in the family there, and yes, I mean Shawshank Redemption, American Beauty, Finding Nemo, Skyfall, the third of the Daniel Craig Bond films, and one of my all-time favorite scores, and my second favorite Daniel Craig Bond film.
Got to agree. Got to agree with you 100% on that. Got a real winner here. Now, as far as usage of John Williams themes, I get a little confused because Kathy Kennedy has gone on the record by saying that all Star Wars films will have the crawl at the beginning of them moving forward. So does that mean the Mandalorian and Grogu will have the crawl? And if they do have the crawl, it has to be accompanied by the Star Wars main theme. Will the Star Wars Starfighter film open with a crawl? And if it does, it should be accompanied by the John Williams theme. I think that should be a trademark of all Star Wars theatrical releases moving forward. And then give us nothing but Thomas Newman music throughout the entire film. Even end credits. Even end credits. Now, remember the end credits for Andor had... had the theme to Star Wars, and I can't remember, was it the throne room theme or was it the main theme?
It was the throne room theme.
It was the throne room.
Yeah, throne room. Thomas Newman joins a very small fraternity of composers. Obviously, John Williams, the Godfather, the founder, but Michael Giacchino, John Powell, Kevin Kiner, Ludwig Göransson. So it's not a new thing anymore in the year 2025 to have somebody other than John Williams at the podium and composing the music for Star Wars. But this is not to take anything away from any of those very talented composers, but Thomas Newman is in, he's up there. I mean, he is a multi-Academy Award nominated composer, and WALL-E, 1917, as I said, Skyfall, Road to Perdition, Shawshank. I mean, these are major scores.
Well, when he obviously has a great reputation, because when Shawn revealed the name, Kevin McCarthy from On Film with Kevin McCarthy started squeeing like a fangirl, and
sure did.
He became positively orgasmic at the mere mention of the man's name. So definitely count Kevin McCarthy as a Thomas Newman super fan.
Bro, I know, bro.
Oh my God. Can we just hear the beginning of that clip? And
let's
hear what I'm
do
talking
it.
about?
Yeah.
Who's scoring it?
Thomas Newman.
I
know, bro. I know, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I literally
wait.
I don't know if that's public, so now it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we're breaking news here.
He's lighting a
second. Oh my gosh.
Cigarette right now.
That second. Oh my gosh. I think when he said that, I think he made a puddle on the floor.
Jeez. Wowie wow. All right. Well, that's all. That is great news. I have no issues with Thomas Newman, somebody of his caliber, scoring a Star Wars. Sounds great. Even if you couldn't get Randy Newman.
Bring it. All right. We have one more clip about Star Wars Starfighter, but this time it's with Matt Smith.
Yes.
Matt Smith, we were presuming, is playing one of the antagonists, one of the villains in this film, alongside Mia Goth. Mia Goth is everywhere, too, by the way. I mean, she's such an interesting person. She's married to Shia LaBeouf. I'm really looking forward to seeing these two together in this film. So Matt Smith reveals, I don't even know what the hell show this is.
Looks like one of those just British chat shows.
I think it's a
morning chat shows.
I think it's a British show called This Morning. Real clever name for your show there, This Morning. That's really outside the box thinking. Yeah, we just call it This Morning. People know sun is up, right? Okay.
Here it is.
So, enough. There it is. There it is. Here's Matt Smith.
This new haircut. What's this?
Oh, well, I finished the film yesterday, and they had to cut my hair for it. So this is why I've got.
That Star
you had to
Wars?
tell us anything about it. Star Wars, yeah, I finished that yesterday.
Wars?
Yeah, and so that's why I've got this daft haircut with this funny little bit at the front, but you know.
Oh
what can you say anything or not?
Ryan Gosling's in it.
Right, the wonderful, Ryan's in it, who's just fabulous, and I think it's really exciting. It's directed by Shawn Levy, who did all this kind of Stranger Things. He's just fantastic, and I think it's going to be really great, actually.
So you can't see the haircut, but I'd call it sort of almost like a Caesar cut. It's very short, and it comes down a little bit over the forehead, and it's sort of straight across. Yeah, I think it's kind of got that Caesar sort of vibe.
Okay,
George
all
Clooney
right. You're thinking
rocked that back
Gladiator.
George Clooney rocked that back during
You're thinking
the
Gladiator,
ER days.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
I get Nazi Germany vibes off of that haircut. He looks like old Adolf. You just comb it over to the side a little bit, give him the square mustache, and Sig Heil. There he is.
Totalitarian style haircut.
Yeah. Totalitarian, authoritarian, evil. So that's what we want from our villains, right, gang?
That's right.
And we've always known that Star Wars has made the connection between the evils of the universe and compared it to things like Nazi Germany. Of course, George Lucas did those Indiana Jones films, and it's very crystal clear who the enemy is in those. Yes.
Aliens.
Aliens.
All right.
Aliens. Oh, yeah, that fourth one. That was weird. Would you mind walking us through some of this Mando Grogu news before we wrap up? I got a little rant I want to do at the end, too.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So Empire Magazine, there was a issue back last month that featured a story. And I was glad because I looked it up online because, they do that thing where they put the story on the website of the magazine, and they go, for the full story, go to you got to pick up the magazine on the newsstands. And thankfully somebody put up some scans, so we didn't really miss all that much. There was very little extra information in the floppy copy, but Empire Magazine did do a piece about the forthcoming film, and here are some highlights here. Jon Favreau talking about Din Djarin and the Mandalorian. In the Mandalorian and Grogu film, he says, the Mandalorian has changed his priorities. One of the last things we say in season 3 is, I don't want to go out there and just be a hired gun. I want to work for the good guys. So we can assume by that this is more than just another bounty. And if it's more than just another bounty, then it's more than just a 2-hour episode of The Mandalorian. That's what I'm hoping for. That it's more than just a big expanded episode. So he's moving on to bigger things, bigger challenges.
I think that maybe they're going to be recycling ideas from the Rangers of the New Republic show that got jettisoned once Gina Carano's Twitter campaign became a little too overwhelming for certain people. And so I think a lot of these ideas are being recycled, but now Din Djarin is a Ranger of the New Republic. He was marshaled at the end of season 3 of The Mandalorian and Grogu, or of just The Mandalorian. Now you have to add and Grogu to everything. I liked it better. It was just The Mandalorian and Grogu. God. Everybody's going to say when it gets released in May, it's like, let's go see The Mandalorian. Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, what? What movie? The Mandalorian? I don't know what movie is. Oh, the Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, yeah, that movie I want to go see. Yeah. Okay, right. Just to be clear.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, man. You got it. Let me please hold my hand as I guide you into the theater. So those are my thoughts there, I guess.
Now, Jon Favreau talking about Zeb from Rebels being in The Mandalorian and Grogu. He says now we get to really have fun with him. He's such a compelling character, even if you've never seen Rebels, between the voice, the swagger, and the physical ability. So, yeah, we've got a CG Zeb, and we saw him in, what was that, season 2 of Mandalorian?
Season 3.
Rebel base. Was that season 3?
Yeah, Delphi base.
Yeah.
Where the New Republic, and it seems like, Filoni's always sitting there with his cowboy hat on, and you got that other guy with the leather jacket on.
Oh, that guy.
Action
leather
figure.
jacket
He's like
guy.
bald. He's this bald guy. Nobody wants that action figure. I want that action figure, though. You offered it to me. His name's Carson Tava, by the way.
Yeah.
He looks kind of cool with that leather jacket on.
His nickname.
What's his name?
His nickname, his like call sign or whatever was Blue, wasn't it? Yeah. They called him Blue.
I don't recall that. That's what you call a cop, is Blue. That's slang for the PO. Yeah, man. So like if you were on the streets like me.
Right.
Okay, are we done with this story, or is there still
there's one more. There's one more here. Talking about the Din and Grogu as the heart of the film. Well, I would think, since that's the name of it. He says that central relationship as they go off and face adventure together. That's the underpinning of the film. Star Wars is always about progression and growth and characters evolving, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. It's about apprenticeship. It's about one generation teaching the next. There's more growth that happens over the course of the film. And so that's something that we've been wanting when it comes to Grogu, is growth and evolution. He can't just stay the cute little cherub forever.
I agree, 1,000%. Let's see some evolution to that little guy. After all, his name is in the title of the film, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I hope he's just not going to goo-wop his way through the whole thing and eat a bunch of frogs. Let's see him do some stuff. Wop. Wop. All right, listen, I got some quick news hits because I have to do this. You know why? Because people complain if we don't mention certain things on the show that happened in Star Wars in the last week. They flipping complain. You know what our criteria is for the topics we talk about on the show? It's, do we have something to say about it? And if we don't, then we typically don't talk about it. And video games are kind of high on that list. But I enjoy playing Star Wars video games from time to time. I'm an old school Dark Forces guy, Shadows of the Empire, and of course, the two Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, which I think are the greatest video games of all time. And I spend hours playing those. So don't tell me anything about not playing no video games, okay? But the deal is there was the Video Game Awards on Friday night. And in my house, that's like the Super Bowl. Okay, Michael and Dylan go absolutely crazy. They yell and scream. They throw things at each other. And then I'll hear them yell, Dad, Star Wars. So here I come all the way down the stairs with my stupid albuterol inhaler in hand to see whatever this footage is. And they had two cool video game trailers at the Video Game Awards. One of them was called Fate of the Old Republic, and the other one was a cool racing game called Star Wars Galactic Racer. And so those trailers are out there. If you want to see them, you could check them out. They're pretty cool. But from what I understand, the footage they show in the Fate of the Old Republic, none of it is gameplay. It's all of these cutscenes. The
cutscenes
that are designed specifically for the trailer. They might not even be in the game itself, but still, it looks cool. There's lightsabers. And then Star Wars Galactic Racer, that felt like it was representing the actual game itself a little bit better. But I also understand Star Wars Galactic Racer is way far off from being a reality. We're talking years away for Star Wars Galactic Racer. But these companies like to make these announcements. Some might say they're premature, but they just like to plant their flag in the ground concerning some of these productions they're working on. So there you go. There's some video game talk for you guys. So you don't complain on Facebook, how could they not talk about Fate of the Old Republic? Well, we did. So
it's not a sequel to Knights of the Old Republic. They're calling it a spiritual successor. That's how they're framing it.
So is Darth Revan going to be in it? Darth Malik? Are we going to have the big players in this thing?
No, who was the girl that they showed at the end of it? Jim, you thought you might know.
I don't know. My boys told me that she was in the original KOTOR game, but I don't know if they know what they're talking about. And, I didn't question them. I just saw another...
It's a badass character running rampant and cutting everybody up and cutting it all down, and then it's revealed, it's a girl. We've never seen that before. I love when they do that dramatic turn as if, it's Star Wars and we've never seen a badass chick running around and beating people up before. Oh, my God.
Yaman.
All right. So, and Galactic Racer, pod racing, arcade racing game. I mean, that sounds kind of fun. It looked fun.
Yeah.
Looked like more like my speed.
I enjoy racing games.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the old pod racer game.
Yes,
both the N64 version and the actual arcade version where you sit down in the pod itself. I love that stuff. They have it at the Galloping Ghost, and I'm a junkie for it. A junkie. So let's just wrap up some of these other stories. I guess Daisy Ridley talked to somebody, and she did confirm that the new Jedi Order film is chugging right along, and she seemed pretty positive about it. But we've heard that song and dance routine how many times over the last 2.5 years?
Yeah.
More times than I can count. And it's been longer than 2.5 years, too, by the way. So we're counting. So a couple other quickies here. Rian Johnson is out promoting yet another Knives Out movie, and he's still popping off about Star Wars. And I got this to say. Rebel Force Radio official stance on anything that guy has to say about Star Wars is firmly IDGAF. Okay? That's our official statement on all things Rian Johnson going on. And then Leslie Headland of The Acolyte talked about the failure of that show in a recent interview. RFR's official stance on anything she says about Star Wars is IDGAF. So send 5 proofs of purchases to Jason Swank, and he'll send you nothing.
Well, you know what? I'd say for your first show back, that was a doozy. All right, that's going to wrap up things here for Rebel Force Radio for this week. We will be back. Yes, we will be back next week with our special Christmas episode of Rebel Force Radio. In the meantime, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio, where you get the weekly full show video, the exclusive podcast that you can't find anywhere else, and a new video by me toying around with Swank. We're going to be taking a look at this Jedi Temple Guard Black Series figure in our premiere episode. I didn't pick it. The Patreon supporters picked it. But yeah, that's just the beginning. We'll get to all of them. And it is just an awesome community of the very best Star Wars fans you can find anywhere in the galaxy. And you hear many of them here on our voicemails and our after shows. So if you want more of that in your life, that kind of positive Star Wars fandom, check it out. Patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. Check out our highlights of this show and other things over on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Rebel Force Radio. It's quite a repository of the history of RFR going back many, many years. Some classic interviews with Star Wars celebrities. It's all over there on YouTube, archived for your pleasure. Please follow us on our socials. We are on the Facebook and we are on the Instagram. So check us out there, and the official website for all things and everything Rebel Force Radio, rebelforceradio.com. This is a podcast, and we love to have you subscribe if your podcatcher of choice allows you to do so, or follow, however they call it. And if it allows you to leave a review, we love to have that too. Please, just one simple, small, tiny rule.
Make them good.
All right, that'll do it. We'll see you next time for more Rebel Force Radio. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
And I'm really grateful and thankful to have such an amazing audience of Rebel Force Radio supporters. Thank you guys so much for your patience while I was out, but I'm back, baby, and so is Rebel Force Radio, and we're not going anywhere. So thanks again for your patience during all that time. Thank you again for all your support, and I love you guys so much. I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
Oh, yeah, sure, you know.